And right now, I'm about to jump into a very cool and educational and informative, conversation with Captain Lefa Libitso, right? And Warrant Officer Tony Abrahams. Thank you guys for coming through. Thank you. So just to give you a brief thing that we do, or what their roles are within the unit of Hawks, is that Tony Abrahams is the investigates economic protected resources, and we're going to be getting into that as to what that title means and what his role is in the unit. And of course, Captain Lefa Libitso is the Gauteng Provincial Coordinator for the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation. This is the DPCI, also known as the Hawks for Trafficking in Persons Investigations, TIP. Very, very cool stuff. Like I said, or like I always say, when we have people like yourselves, that we always throw these terms around. We throw these terms around all willy-nilly, DPIC or TIP, and we walk away saying, man, don't worry, Mr. Abrahams, I know what you're talking about. And I don't. I genuinely don't. And people have this thing where they are afraid to ask and inquire. So, gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and for taking your time, because I know you must be busy here at the Rancho.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
We're indeed very busy.
Yeah.
But we saw it fit for us to be here this morning.
Yes.
And to share with your listeners what the Directorate is all about.
Yes, sir.
Now, we are, I will say, employed in terms of Section 17D.
Yes, sir.
Especially Section 17D1 of the South African Police Act, which speaks to our mandate,
Yes.
which is to prevent, combat, and investigate national priority offenses and other offenses referred by the National Commissioner, subject to policy guidelines from a ministerial committee. The Directorate can also extend its investigations to related crimes if it's in the interest of justice or public interest. Now, to summarize it, what it means that we investigate all serious organized crime.
Yes, sir.
You must remember in the year 2000, the United Nations came together at a city called Palermo. Palermo is situated somewhere in Italy.
Yes.
And as South Africa, we are part of the United Nations, and we signed and ratified what became known as the Palermo Protocol in 2004, which actually gave birth to the act that seeks to punish those, like I said, I'm dealing with trafficking in persons.
Yes, sir.
Those that are perpetrators of that crime. This protocol that I'm talking about, the Palermo Protocol, gave birth to what is now known today as Act 7 of 2013.
Oh, okay.
Which is the Prevention and Combating of Trafficking in Persons Act, which actually came into effect on the 9th of August in 2015.
Okay.
So that is the act that we are using in preventing and combating, as well as investigating and prosecuting all perpetrators involved in trafficking in persons cases.
Very interesting. Very interesting to find out that now the Hawks are functioning and operating at an international level. This is something that we don't know as regular South Africans as we go on about our day-to-day lives, right? Because we hear about the Hawks and their involvement in different parts of the city and just what they do, but we never really get to know that you guys even operate at an international level in joint with other, policing units on an international level. Very, very interesting. So, we have SAPS, we have JMPG. Like yesterday, we were in conversation with Xolani Fihla, the spokesperson of the JMPG. And now they are, I'm not sure what they're called, and now this is exposing me, but the officers that wear the green uniforms that recently came in, right? We see you guys, there's visibility, but we don't know what makes you different from each other as policing units. What sets you apart as the Hawks from the JMPG, for example, from SAPS, for example, from EPD, the Ekurhuleni Metro Policing Service? What sets you apart and makes you elite as a policing unit?
Well, when I started, remember, I mentioned that we are mandated.
Okay.
Under the Police Act, Act 17, more especially 17D1 of the South African Police. So it clearly outlines our mandate as the Hawks.
Okay.
We are dealing specifically with priority crimes that needs expertise that your normal detectives or your normal members of the South African police do not have or do not possess. Although we are one big family, they are part
Yes.
of our family. It's just that our mandates are different from theirs. Yes, I've outlined that. And I think I've said much about our functions.
Yes.
I've talked also about the UN convention that we had
Yes.
that seeks to address transnational organized crime. Because we are not only focusing in crime in South Africa, because crimes, it overlaps into other countries. Hence, this Palermo Protocol was signed and ratified by South Africa in 2004 to address, amongst others, human trafficking, gun smuggling, drugs. Those are the things that transnational organized crime, as the Hawks, we are seeking to address.
I see. Very, very, very cool stuff. Mr. Abrahams, let me come to you now, very quickly. It sounds like Captain Libito is shedding light on that. These are complex investigations and crimes that you guys deal with, not your normal day-to-day, malicious damage of property or gross, what do they call it? Gross bodily harm, things of that sort, right? You guys deal with high-profiling crimes that even go over borders, right? So how do you go about these complex crimes like corruption, cybercrime, and of course drug trafficking, like you mentioned? How do you go about investigating them and curating a customized investigation that will solely deal with that crime that's been done?
All right. Before answering that question,
Yes,
I would
sir.
also like to add to something that Captain Libitsu mentioned about our history, because it's very strange that up to today, you also find the community that does not know who the Hawks are. And that is why we're sitting was here today to educate. So I normally start with, do you know who the Scorpions are?
I mean, I've heard of the term, we've seen visibility, but I don't think there's enough education that's been put out there to someone like me and the general public about who the Scorpions are and their role in the policing service.
Yes.
Yes.
The Scorpions are our predecessors.
Ah,
Right. They were working closely with the NPA with court-driven investigations directed by prosecutors.
yes.
So, and with advocates. So they got disbanded because of issues, and then we were formed. DPCI, the Hawks were formed. So that is where we are. We are a specialized unit that are internationally compared to the FBI, the CIA, MI15. That is to show how serious the Hawks are. To who are we comparing to? And then to start answering your question, each and every Hawks member comes there with a speciality. They specializes in the field. As you've mentioned the introduction, Captain Libitsu, he's the face of human trafficking.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the person that knows everything about human trafficking. In his sleep, he will answer you because human trafficking, he's very passionate about that.
Yes.
Everybody in the Hawks know he is that man. When he went to
He's the go-to guy.
he is the go-to guy. Even police that does not know the elements of human trafficking, in his sleep he will answer it because he's passionate about it. All right. As I said, each and every Hawk has got a speciality because we got different branches. As you've mentioned, I'm part of the economic protected resources.
Yes,
né?
sir.
So my mandate is precious metals and diamond, drugs, human trafficking, wildlife. Wildlife is a new addition now at the Renzo.
Oh, it's a recent, newly in.
No, it's a thing that we've always investigated.
Okay.
But it was never on show here at the Renzo. Only this year it came because you'll see later on when you do our exhibit there,
Yes.
you'll see an animal there that is attracting the attention of the
Of patrons who are coming here at the rancho.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, but as I say, everybody is specializing in the field, making it his own, but not limited to that he can do other things.
Yes.
Because one of the mandates of the Hawks is also cash in transit, high profile cases. Cash in transit is also one of our mandates. Police killings is also our mandate.
Oh, wow.
And police killings is not limited to policemen. There are metro, prison officials. So that is part of our mandate. As you mentioned, it is complex cases, difficult cases that we are not saying that the local detectives can't investigate it.
Yes.
But remember, the local detective said was 200 cases on his desk. And now the community are lambasting him. He's not doing his job, but this is overworked. Not that we are not overworked. We've also got a lot on our desk. But so your question is answered by that we are specializing in a thingy. There's an investigative plan that you follow. There's a networking. For instance, on wildlife. The rhino horns, everybody knows about rhino horns, knows about abalone. But do they know that I can send you to jail for a tortoise? I can send you to jail for cutting a cycad tree, removing a cycad tree, or taking out a succulent plant from the ground. I sent you to jail.
Wait, what? How does that work now? Wait, warrant officer, wait.
Tell him about the Numbers Act.
So that is why we are here today, to educate our families that ignorance to the law is no excuse to be punished.
But would you then, because I would play devil's advocate and say it's not ignorance, it's lack of being informed.
Correct.
And,
I
it's,
agree.
and I would further take it a step further even and say it is on you as a unit, as a policing unit, that you haven't done in much. Let's take it back to, because you said that your predecessors are the Scorpions, right?
Yes.
How long ago were the Scorpions disbanded?
2008.
2008. So it's almost 20 years. And the general public still don't know some of the investigations and how they can land in jail based on what you guys are mandated to do. So I would play devil's advocate, Captain Libito, and say it is on you guys that there isn't much information. I'm taking it as that this is a normal plant that is next to my house. How can then you, as warrant officer, come to me and say, I'm sending you to jail because this is a crime?
To answer you there, this platform where I'm sitting on now is one of the educational platforms and informative
Yes.
platforms
Yes.
where the sharing of knowledge are happening.
Yes.
Each branch of the Hawks have got media officers, and they're not afraid to issue press statements.
Okay.
They're not afraid to use the media, social media. We've got TikTok, we've got Facebook, we've got the SABC, the E-News. We are there.
Yes.
For instance, nobody in the media industry would not know who is Katlego Mogale.
Okay. I mean, I've heard the name.
Oh, you've heard.
Yes.
Atlende Mate.
That I haven't heard.
No, that is also where we advertise ourselves, because we're sending people to jail. Why are we sending people to jail? Our media officers explains that through the newspapers and the TV and.
But what insurance do you guys have that, yes, you have a social media house and a social media officer dealing with Facebook and TikTok and all of those things? Because the reality of life right now is that we are living in a technologically influenced era, right? Where 10 years ago even, as far as 10 years, as close as 10 years, that the level of visibility in terms of things on the internet wasn't as it is now. Fair, granted, you guys have all of those things because you're trying to keep up to date, right? And that's something that I was going to ask. How are you now keeping up to date with all of these technological advances we're experiencing? Fair and well, you have it. But what confidence and what assurances do you guys have that a simple, normal citizen like myself hears about these things where now you can have leg to stand on as warrant officer Abrahams that we've shared this knowledge? It's there on our social media platforms. You should have known about it. How are you confident that I would have gotten it? Because there isn't much, honestly speaking. I can say as a young person in my 30s that I haven't seen much of the Hawks on platforms, right? We only hear on the news when there's high profiling crimes, like you mentioned, Captain Libito. That's when we hear noise and information now. Hawks is dealing with a cash in transit thing that went from Gauteng all the way to Mpumalanga. That's when now we hear noise. But simple things like a citizen of the Republic can get into jail and be arrested for a plant. I would argue and say, I've never heard of that.
All right.
I believe many young people like yourself
Yes,
are using social media.
we are completely.
And next to you, I can see
Yes.
you've got even a smarter one than the one that I.
Yes. Yes.
So, as much as you want to play
Devil's advocate.
Let's not try and be ignorant on some of the things.
Okay.
Because everything that we do is in here. You can go now, I'm sitting here next to you, go to my SAPS app, you will see we are also there.
On what platform?
My SAPS app, my SAPS app,
Okay.
we are there. We are on X, we are on Facebook, all social media platforms. You will see what we do on all social media platforms. You can
Okay.
also go to Google and say, what are the Hawks in SA doing?
Fair.
Or their mandate or whatsoever. You'll get everything there.
Fair.
So we can only do much, but it also needs you as the citizens of this country to say, we want to know about these people and want to know what is it that they are doing. Because if you don't want to know, you will not know.
I see you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Last year, I was part of the outreach programs where we went to Mall of Africa.
Yes.
We went to the mall in Kreersdorp. The same process that we are following here, the Rand Easter Show. The same basic what we are doing here, where we've got posters for each and every commodity that we are investigating in, and even now we are distributing them. Because people are not aware of that. But for instance, the crime of illegal mining, we are investigating that under the Precious Metal Act 37 of 2005 and under the Mining Rights Act. And remember, all crimes are interlinked. Illegal mining, illegal foreigners.
Yes.
And then the firearms that are supplied.
Yes. Illegal firearms.
And then the money aspect of that.
Absolutely.
You understand? Then to come back to your plant story, because I see it lies close to you and you can't
No,
lock me,
no,
you
no,
can't
no,
lock
no,
me
no,
up
not
for
even.
something I don't know.
But I mean, you know, the reason I'm trying to push for it is there is someone, unfortunately, who's listening and watching out there, right? I, as someone who's in the media space, might be informed and knowledgeable about that because I might have covered a story that you guys might have done, right? But I'm in the media space, and as part of your mandate that you guys have, I also have a responsibility as a media personality to make sure that I'm informed about the things that you guys do, right? So that when we have sit downs like this, I know what I'm talking about. But there's a simple, like I mentioned with the ladies earlier, a 23-year-old who has no knowledge about this and is not interested whatsoever, right? How do we then instill confidence in the public, saying that we will ensure that the necessary education gets to those people?
I'm glad that platforms like this
Yes.
Are inviting us,
Yes.
and we can use them to educate the public.
Yes.
I've just shared with you something now.
Yes, I'm looking at it
And
now.
as you opened it,
Yes.
I think you saw my face.
I
there.
did. There you are. You both are appearing on it.
Yes,
Yes.
that shows that I was not talking about something that is not there.
Yes.
It is there. It's just that maybe sometimes we are using these platforms that we are having
In the incorrect way.
in an incorrect way,
Yeah.
and for wrong reasons. But if we are to use it for right reasons, then you'll get the information.
The information. I see.
Because it is there.
Sure.
My face is there in front of you.
Yes.
Yes.
Also, to strengthen your point there, when we arrest people, there's always a boo-ha because the Hawks have done this and there. And we are not arresting people in a vacuum or in an unknown space. We are arresting people in a community, in a town, and it is the talk of the town when our arrests are happen, because we are doing high profile, prominent arrests that is affecting not only certain type of people, but everybody.
And I'm going to add on that.
Yes, sir.
We are shying away from doing things like Hollywood style movie things because they tend to compromise our investigations.
Oh, I
because
see.
Now, this gets media attention.
Yes.
Now, the media gets to be the investigators and the
Yes.
prosecutors at the same time.
Yes.
At the same
Public
time-
perception.
Yes.
Yes.
And compromising our investigations at the same time.
Yes. So I like how you say that, you want to educate and people need to know this information, right? Let's talk about your connectivity and how you work with those communities. Now, me as an ordinary citizen, how can I assist in helping, the investigations that you guys go on about? Because it's like I said, it's mostly high profile and, high risk investigations. How can I then, as a citizen, assist in making sure that people are put to book and justice prevails in our communities?
We encourage people to report crime.
Okay?
And we guarantee your safety. You don't have to tell us who you are. If you can call 0800 10 111, I think you'll be attended to. You can stay anonymous and report whatever crime you want to report. As far as human trafficking is concerned, we even have a resource line, which is 0800 222 777. I repeat it again, it's 0800 222 777. They will assist you in the language that you
That
prefer.
best suits me.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can remain anonymous. But we really encourage people to report crime because crime doesn't happen where people don't see. Even your catch in transit robberies nowadays, it happens in broad daylight.
Broad daylight, yeah.
Where people are there. So you cannot tell me that it will be, people don't know who are committing these crimes in their own townships where they are staying.
I love it.
All what we are appealing from our general public.
Yes.
Let us start to report crime. This is our country. We must all love it.
Yes. And make sure that we're safe.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Abrahams.
We are accountable, né? And people that are report these crimes or the tips to the police or to the hotlines, né? It reaches us. People may think that it's not reaching us. Né? And we will get personal calls from police stations. This person wants to speak to the Hawks. Can I give you your number?
I was about to ask that. Can I then, if I call 10 111, like you mentioned, Captain Lebitso, that I specifically want the Hawks, can I be directed to the Hawks land where I can reach any of your officers?
Yes, it can, but it does not automatically means that we will take that case.
Oh.
Because, as you said, there's a mandate. There are requirements for us to investigate.
Yes.
It is not that I'm going to, this person is complaining about you making loud noise, so now I
The
am
Hawks
going
have to be dispatched, yes.
Yes, no.
Yes.
Because remember, we are not saying that our colleagues are incompetent.
Yes.
We are not saying. Our detectives everywhere, they are trained. They're coming from the college. They've got experience. What they haven't learned, they learned by trial and error. So we are enforcing them. né? And we are not fighting with them. We are working together because even the normal detectives also refer cases to us, to understand. And when we give cases back, it happens. né? It is not that we do not want to, but it does not fall within our mandate.
I love it. I love it. So, look, man, I'm sure as you guys have been part of the Hawks, have had quite a few successes, right, Captain Lebitso? And I'm sure you guys take pride in making sure that justice prevails and the people are served in accordance to the mandate that you just mentioned. So, without revealing much, is there maybe a success story that you guys can highlight and say, no, we went on about our investigation and justice prevailed, and the general public who were involved in that investigation walked away with success and being pleased and happy?
How much time do we have?
Is there so many success stories now? Are there that many that you guys always, or maybe not always, but more than most of the time, get the results that you are looking for?
If not always, most of the time,
Yes.
we are having a good story to tell. without dwelling much and pointing out on specific cases,
Yes.
I'll just make you an example because, again, you must understand, as our constitution says, we more care about human life than anything else.
Yes.
Recently, if you are, because you are from the media, you must know this for sure. I think it's last month or early this month, we rescued about 23 of our nation, South African
Yes,
nationals,
definitely. We
from
covered that.
Maima.
Yes, we
From
covered that.
Maima.
Yes.
Yes, and they are safely back home here, and they were trafficked, Lord, through social media for that matter.
Sheesh, man.
They were promised lucrative jobs.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
You understand? I always say, if something sounds good, too good to be true,
It probably is.
is what it is, you understand? So the fact that we, together with other stakeholders like DERCO and our NGOs, NPOs, social development, all the department, home affairs, border management services, all the departments that we're working with, that we managed to get those citizens out of Maima, which is now under the control of the military, for that matter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and we successfully managed to bring our own people back home. It is a success because a day after that, there was this earthquake there.
Oh, yes.
And over 2,000 people died.
You lost their lives. Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And I believe they are still even counting now.
That there are still more bodies being discovered.
Yes.
Wow.
But the unfortunate part of it is that there are still some of our people that are still trapped in Maima. And my prayer, as you know, we also pray, we are also human.
Yes.
As this is an
Easter weekend, yes.
For us Christians, we believe that God, with God, the Bible says with God all things are possible.
Absolutely.
So with prayer and with whatever effort that we are doing, we are praying that they will also be repatriated back home.
I love that. I love that. So now let's talk about, because with these successes comes now, there's an opposite. Because there can't be one without the other, right? There are some cases and instances where you guys might not have necessarily been that successful. And what they then pulls in is a lack of confidence within law enforcement in general, right? How do you then, guys, ensure that you restore this confidence in the general public and ensure and make them and entrust that, guys, we've got this. We are hands-on with these investigations, and it's not that when you come in and report a crime, we discard it and say, I will do it. How do you instill so much confidence so that we, as the general public, are not afraid and skeptical to come to a Captain Libito, to come to a warrant officer Abrahams and report these crimes that we experience on a day-to-day basis in the Republic?
You know, with our investigations, one thing I like, we also say we work in a multidisciplinary approach. That means various stakeholders are involved in our investigations.
Okay.
From the initial beginning of the investigations, NPA is on board.
Oh, yes.
Because there are prosecutors that are designated to specifically work with the Hawks.
Okay.
You understand? I just don't want to mention their
Names,
names.
yes, absolutely, absolutely.
But we work with them, and they are somehow guiding our investigations. We not only dealing with cases in terms of your Criminal Procedure Act only. There is what we call the POCA Act, the Prevention of Organized Activities Act. We also use that act to make sure that we punish those criminals in taking the proceeds that they derive from the crimes that they've committed. So those are some of the things that we do. I think in so doing, we are, as you correctly asked,
Yes.
saying to the public, here we are trying to do our best. But investigation goes in two ways.
Yes.
You can investigate a case to the best of your knowledge and successfully place it on the court roll. But it will also rely on your witnesses, on how good your witnesses are. Because you must remember, their version of events will be tested in our courts. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
You understand? So it's not that I have failed if I've lost the case. It depends on the kind or caliber of the witnesses I had. That's why we are taking them. For a person who has never been in court, there's a lot that goes into their mind as they have to testify. Some of them, the nerves, they are pagama.
Yes, absolutely.
Bomama di sukiri di pagama. You understand? So
Yes,
it's-
I mean,
it's-
there's a sense of nervousness that comes
Yes.
with, sharing your version of the incidents that happened.
Yes, my good brother. That's why we are taking them through the processes as we investigate as to what is going to happen. But at the end of the day, it depends on the kind of witnesses we have, and the judge or the magistrate will be the deciding factor. Not that we have failed.
Yes.
To add on what he does say,
Absolutely.
né, sometimes we win, sometimes we
We lose, yes.
And not because of poor investigations or what. As he just mentioned, one factor about the witnesses. But look at this, at this way. Such a case that he's mentioning now, we've lost the case. Né? But the most important key here né, is feedback to the complainant, feedback to the family, for them to understand. Again, to educate the people that sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. Now, we measure a lose on another level as well. A case that he's referring to is, it's a big case in the media, né? The person has got arrested. Bail went on for a year. I've got such a case. It went for a year. The accused spent a year in jail fighting for bail.
Okay.
Right. He loses his company. He gets divorced. He loses assets. Now the case goes to trial, and for another year. Another year.
Yes.
All right. Witnesses get skilled. Witnesses get scared. The judge make this the judgment. Case withdrawn against you, sir. You are free to go.
Sheesh, man.
Okay. What did you hear now between the lines about his life? We know he's guilty.
But it sounds like then he's on the losing end of the stake.
Exactly.
Yes.
So did he win in actual fact?
No.
Deep in my heart, I'm sleeping nicely. That one was guilty. We've got all the proof, but we couldn't put it through the court.
He might not been, imprisoned
Yeah.
or found guilty, but there is a sense of loss that he experienced.
Yeah.
I see.
And you see
I
that,
see.
that is why. But then you need to explain that to the family, to the victims, also that somewhere karma and God was also.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, with
And because you are doing a breakfast show,
Yes.
I always say to people, feedback is the breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
So you need to give feedback to people.
feedback is the breakfast of champions. I love that, Captain Lebiso. So, I mean, with all these high-profile cases that you guys tackle, all right, we've seen in mainstream media, mostly because media houses like ourselves don't necessarily get the attention and the noise that we would like to get, right? There's been a number of ones over the years that have disappeared now. And people are saying, Captain Lebiso, for 2 weeks or for about a month, Warrant Abrahams, we saw that case being highlighted, being profiled. There was so much noise. 2 minutes, the case now in the investigation dies. How do we go about that? Why does that happen? And how do we address and inform the general public that it's not a case that it's disappeared, but this and that happened?
Media houses has got this wrong tendency that I don't like. In the initial stage of our investigations,
Yes.
there'll be a lot of noise in some cases.
Yes.
And as and when we convict or we get assets, the proceeds of crime,
Yes.
they will never report about such things. They will never. But one failure that we do, there'll be a lot of halabaloo. That's why when you initially asked that question, I said to you, we are not doing things Hollywood style.
Yes.
Yeah, we are not the Scorpions. We are the Hawks.
You're not the FBI.
We are the Hawks.
Yes.
Yes. And our eyes and our claws are everywhere.
Yes, definitely.
And you see that because some of the complex cases is not like finalized in 6 months or 3 weeks. It takes years to finalize. So
The story might have died after that long. Yes.
Exactly.
I see.
There'll be a new story coming
In.
Yes.
That's being shed light and noises made about it.
Yes.
I love it. So would you guys now, as Mr. Abrahams mentioned, Captain Lebizo Gore, you're very passionate about human smuggling and human trafficking, right? How do we then, would you, or rather, would you, as someone who's been, both of you, would you say that the justice system of South Africa is doing what it's mandated to do across the board in all these policing units? Is it fulfilling their mandates? Are we walking away as citizens with success stories? Even it might not, like you just mentioned, it might not be the success that we are looking for, but there is a sense of success to a certain extent, right? Would you say then the justice system holistically in South Africa is doing what is mandated to do, or is it failing the general public?
I know you are indirectly wanting to ask me about the Omotoso case.
No, not even. No,
Okay,
no, 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 no. I'm talking holistically.
Oh, maybe-
I was even far from that. Far
Maybe,
from that.
maybe I was reading your
No,
mind. I read your mind wrong then.
No, I don't want to refer to that. No. I'm just talking holistically, because over and above, that's just one singular case. There's far broader and bigger and serious ones that we might not know of as the general public, right?
Okay.
So holistically, is the justice system fulfilling its mandate on a holistic level to the public?
I will say yes. Besides the act that I told you about,
Yes.
Act 7 of 2013,
Yes.
which seeks to talk about the prevention and combating of trafficking in persons.
Yes.
The act itself. We've got what we call National Instruction 4 of 2015.
National Instruction 4
National Instruction 4 of
2015. Yes, sir.
It was formulated particularly for the members of the South African police, including us as the Hawks, to give us direction as to how, when a person comes in to report, say, human trafficking, for an example, how that person should be treated. Because each and every police station, if you see these days, there are victim empowerment centers.
Yes.
We take those people there, they'll be interviewed. If people at the police station, it talks to everything. Every step that each of our officials that comes into contact with that victim should do their job to the best of their ability.
Yes, sir.
We also have the national policy framework that seeks to talk about all stakeholders involved in human trafficking. It outlines what each of our roles should be as far as that is concerned. I can mention a lot. You understand?
Yes.
So those are the things that assist us to do our work to the best of our ability. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Abrahams.
To answer your question, my answer is yes. Personal experience, as you previously also mentioned, that most of our investigations, we've got a state advocate. The dockets will be referred to the state advocates and they will give us guidance. Behind the scenes, people do not know how the state advocates are fighting with us as investigators. They are also passionate about their jobs. And there is not one Hawks investigator that does not know where the NPA building are. Not one that would be not have been red carpeted there. They are hands-on and they fight with you because their objective is also to be a positive one, to fulfill their obligations to the country. They are also engagements through monthly justice meetings.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that we are not fighting or that the house are not in order.
Definitely.
We are working towards that. But for justice doing their best,
You would agree.
I would agree.
I love that. Because this is the knowledge and information we need. Honestly. And the platform that we're on seeks to inform and give so much information, knowledge, and education, and break these misconceptions that surround the Hawks and ultimately, holistically, the policing service within the Republic, So there's from low level policing to the highest of the highs, that is the Hawks and these other policing services and units in South Africa. There's so much corruption we've seen, right? and we can't shy away from it. It's there. We know that there are bad apples, and Xolani Fihla also mentioned it, that he mentioned that even within the JMPG, there are those one or two apples that will paint a bad picture with regards to what the JMPG is mandated to do and what it seeks to do for the Republic and for the general day-to-day Joe and Harry and Sarah and whatsoever. But there are those people. So now, one would then argue and say wealth helps you or assists or buys justice for you. Is that something that you guys have seen, that those who are well off and can afford have, I guess, swayed away from being booked or coming to face their crimes, and, there's that the victims have the success stories? Or is it something that you guys are combating as a policing unit, as the Hawks?
You know, one thing about the Hawks that I love, we are always subjected to what we call vetting.
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 I see you.
We don't just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes from the street. I don't want also to shy away from the fact that there are bad potatoes within ourselves as well.
Absolutely.
And I can boldly say we've got what we call a serious corruption unit within the Hawks.
Oh, wow.
And besides that, we also have the
IPID.
the IPID.
Yes.
You understand? And every time we do an arrest of our own, or IPID is doing an arrest of our own, we make sure that our communications office makes sure that that gets publicized, so that the general public can see that we are not taking any sides, we are not being biased or anything. If there are bad potatoes, like in any household, if you have 7 children, you can't tell me honestly.
All 7 are well behaved.
All 7 are well behaved. There will be a nyawpeng and a boy at
Yes.
That still needs some alignment somewhere,
Yes.
but that is what we definitely do. Yeah, without fear nor favor.
So justice is not for sale with you guys?
No, it's not for sale with us. If you are a bad potato, you don't belong.
You
with
are
us.
called to book. You are
No,
booked.
immediately, Murena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Abrahams.
Also, as you already said, that we've got anti-corruption unit. We ourselves have an anti-corruption unit, where Brigadier Lawela is currently the boss thereof. We are accessible in the sense that we've got a Valrand, a Westrand, a Johannesburg, a Pretoria, and a Eastern Germiston office.
So all these regions now within Gauteng?
Yes, so I'm trying to show you the accessibility. We are reachable. Ne? And then we've got a anti-corruption unit that is looking also into corruption within, and accepts corruption outside. And
Internally?
Internally. And except that, at head office, we got a unit called the Integrity Unit. Ne? He talked about IPID, but we ourselves have got the Integrity
Yes, he
Unit.
just mentioned it as well, yeah.
If you are being signed on as a Hawks member, ne, that signature that you put there on the piece of paper says that at any given time, without
Fear or favor?
Without notice.
notice, ne, you have signed on that integrity may come and polygraph you, that you may be undergoing a blood test or a urine test to see if you're not.
Taking the drugs that we are investigating ourselves.
Yes.
Wow.
That is part of our contract. And that is part of things that the people outside does not know, that there's a polygraph to see if you are clean. There is testing, ne? And that is not done once in a blue moon.
Lifestyle auditing as
Wow.
well. Yes.
So, but I'm an officer, but I'm off duty, Chief. I'm there at what do you call it? After tears. There's a neighbor who passed on, someone at church who passed on, Captain Libito, and we're having a good time there. And we're after tears. I'm off duty. Why then are you guys wanting to investigate what I do off duty and in my own private time?
No, what you do off duty, and when I was talking about lifestyle auditing, I was not referring to that.
Okay.
What you do off duty, it's up to you.
It's my
but-
business.
Yeah, but even if you are off duty and it's your business, you must always behave in such a way that you will not be taking our name into disrepute. Because should you do so, it doesn't matter on duty or off duty. there will be consequences. There will be consequences for that, yes.
I love that. So, is there a moment in closure, very quickly? Is there a moment where you guys were in an investigation and felt powerless and felt like, you know, this is slightly above our means and our power, and we've done all we can, but hey, no, man, we're not winning this one. Has there been a moment like that, Mr. Abrahams, where you felt powerless?
Nah. Never.
Yeah.
Because the person is for what you investigate. Né? There are always, for me, as I mentioned with the other case,
Yes.
the desired outcome. Né? For us, we've got plan Bs. Né? I'm working at the airport.
Okay.
If I can't get you into jail, if I can't convict you, again, there's other means to address you. As previously known, you will lose your job. You will never work at that airport again. Because like I could not prove my case, but I will make sure that you won't be working at this airport.
I love it. So looking ahead, as the Hawks, is there anything that you guys are looking forward to? Any new technology that you guys are looking to use in the future to combat crimes and human trafficking and all of those things, organized crime, drug trafficking? Are there new strategies that you guys are looking forward to using, and that the general public can also look forward to and be excited about?
Yes, exactly. Technology is one of them.
Yeah.
But I think we have been here for some time now, and without divulging a lot,
Yes.
in case we end up also implicating
Yourselves.
ourselves and making criminals more wiser.
Yes, yes.
I will say to you, thank you very much for
Thank
hosting
you.
us.
Yes.
You have been so awesome.
Yes.
And I think our general public have learned one or two things
Absolutely,
from
definitely.
your show.
Myself as well, I've learned one or two things.
Yes.
Definitely, yes.
And I'm glad you did.
Yes, yes,
And we
absolutely.
must also go and put that knowledge somewhere
Yes,
else.
we will.
It
we
must
will.
just
Def-
not end
it
up
will,
with
It
you.
will not end here. It
Yes.
can't. It can't. We can't afford that.
And
yeah.
I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain Levita. Thank you, Mr. Abrahams. So, social media platforms. Where can I know we mentioned it earlier on. Where can I now reach out to you guys directly without going through the route of SAPS or JMPD and these other policing forums? If I want to come to you guys directly, whether it's a phone number, WhatsApp line, social media, and email, how do I get in contact with you guys?
I will prefer you use the 0800
10,111.
number.
Okay.
It's the safest number because,
Okay.
with our officials, people have got a tendency, you won't know, if I have to give my number now,
Yes.
some of the people that I'm
misuse it.
investigating are listening.
They are,
And
definitely.
then they will come and call and say,
I'm
this
outside your
and
house.
this is happening, and
Yes.
you go there, you get killed.
Yes.
And it happened to one of our members,
Wow,
unfortunately, who was investigating one of the high-profile
Cases.
that I won't mention in this platform.
Yes,
So
of course.
the safest number to use, go to my SEPS app or 0800
10,111.
They will definitely let us know that you called, and we will attend to you.
Mr. Abrahams, a quick message for a young person listening, watching, is here at the Rand Show, is coming to your exhibition, and you want to impart this knowledge for a young person to just notify them and make them aware that Hawks is out there, or anything that you would like to share with them.
For the young people, I would love to see them when I leave the police or I leave this world, for them to follow in my footsteps or to follow in my colleagues' footsteps, to become either a member or an investigator. Also, in closing, that the Hawks are also, as he said, a multidisciplinary force where we are very much on networking. So you've mentioned our colleagues, the JMPD, the
Yes.
EMPD. We work closely with all of them because remember, we are not enough police out there. We're not
Yes.
enough to do things. So we are not working in a silo. Community interest and stakeholders networking, that we want to strengthen that. And that is why on these platforms we are also asking for help.
Yes, definitely.
Report, and we will, because also one of our core functions is to give feedback, because non-communication is what we experience here. The people, because they're not informed of feedback, as you said, cases die.
Yes.
And then the police, the justice are failing them, and we're not doing our job. That is my thing, that on both sides,
the community side, on our side, we must just take hands and do more.
I love it. I love it. And that's the takeaway you want ultimately from young people out there. I love it. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate. We learned so much. And this is, one of our core mandates as well as a media house is to inform and educate. Because what we've seen is there's a filtration of, I would say maybe, and this is not to cause controversy or anything, but there's a filtration of information that is non-useful to the community, to the general public out there. And things like the ones that you shared today, debunking these misconceptions and educating, shedding so much light, giving education and knowledge to the general public never gets, like I mentioned earlier, like you see here, these things are never on our For You pages, on our social media platforms. So we aim to educate as well and bring people like yourselves representing these policing units so that you can give the correct education. And so we are grateful. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. This was the Vuga Breakfast Show brought to you by the Blinko Network out here at the Rand Show 2025 with Captain Lefa Libitso, Gauteng Provincial Coordinator for the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, also known as the Hawks for Trafficking in Persons Investigation. And he was hand in hand with Warrant Officer Tony Abrahams. He investigates economic protected resources. They are doing so much for the general public, but not only in our country. The investigations crosses borders, and they work closely with international policing forums such as the FBI and all of these ones that we've heard. And they were here out there trying to teach both you and I and breaking misconceptions so that we walk away from the Rand Show and ultimately go on our day-to-day lives, being informed about the smallest of things, as that you deplanting a plant from government land can be called to book. It's funny, but it's a serious thing, and we need to be informed about such things. But let's make sure that you and I can walk away with a whole lot of knowledge. With that being said, I'll see you later. Vuga Breakfast Show brought to you by the Blinko Network. Thank you, gentlemen.
Vuga.